information. Why are you after the source? I am not after the...
Why can't it be the other way around, Arnab? Arnab, why can't it be the other way around? Why does the journalist have to disclose it? Why can't they do the investigation in their ministries and in the defense ministry and in the army?
One second, Mr.
Do your job.
I want to get in Mr. Verma.
I just want to say...
I want to get in Mr. Verma. He raised his hand. He raised his hand there. Mr. Verma, answer the question here.
I just want to finish a line.
Okay, complete.
Arnab, I want to once again reiterate, it is not the sharing of information or the individual trying to share the source. The important issue is how did this source manage to get in this line of information and get such an important information.
Well,
there is a weakness in that case in our system of security. That is more important.
No, we are not on that. No, we are not only talking about national security. If you violate national security, if you genuinely do, you can stop a newspaper from publishing itself. You can stop a channel from telecasting. Government retains those rights. Yeah. But to say you'll have to reveal the sources, taking it to another territory. Ashutosh, I know you want to come in. I want to get in Mr. Verma before you. Yes, Mr. Verma.
I want to clarify this particular episode about the Americans which Ashutosh referred to. That's a very famous case referring to Pentagon Papers, and the man who collected the information was Daniel Ellsberg. Now, in that issue, this throws a good bit of light on our case also. In that case, the court, the Supreme Court of the United States, upheld the right of this individual to publish whatever information he had received under the First Amendment of the US Constitution. But at the same time, the court said that if he has violated any existing law of the United States, he must suffer the consequences for it. And as a result of this, he was sent to jail, and he remained in the jail till he was pardoned. So this is a situation here also. The right of somebody some journalist to collect information is not denied. But that right doesn't extend to the extent of getting information which is protected.
No, sir.
And if that protected information is publicized, then he must suffer the consequences.
No, sir, but to a counter
under the laws that exist, which apply to all of us.
No, counter question.
Not only to that journalist, without any exception.
So counter question is that the whole business of disclosing...
Arnab.
Yes, Ashutosh.
See, Arnab, I'll again go back to 2001 and 2002, when how the Iraq war was all orchestrated by the American security establishment. The whole world knows about it. And when the Joseph C. Wilson, he was sent to the Iraq to find out whether the Iraq was involved in buying enriched uranium, and that became a pretext for the Americans to launch a war. And when he comes back and he says there's nothing of that kind is happening, so the entire lie was lit. And what happened? His wife, who was an undercover CIA operator, her identity was disclosed in a column. And what happened? So what I'm trying to tell you is that national security cannot be a hostage of only few babus and the ministers sitting in the establishment. And if it could happen in US, where the war was fought, the war was launched against Iraq on a false pretext, and after that CIA and everybody admitted it, and this can happen to India also. My question is, what has happened to K. Subramaniam report which is submitted? Has the government tried to implement that? Has government tried to modernize the armed forces? Has government tried to procure the best of weapons available in this country? If they had not done it, then I think they had done a great disservice to the nation. So national security is not threatened by the journalist or by the person who has revealed the information, but by the people sitting in the defense ministry, those babus, and that's because they are compromised with the security and the national interests of the country, and the country has all the right to know about it. So I'm saying if plain Wilson suddenly becomes a victim of the entire lie orchestrated by the Bush administration, the same thing happened in this country. What happened to the Tahalka? Anvit Bahal is still fighting a case. He is still suffering from the paranoia.
A simple question. You speak.
Sent to the jail. So my argument is very simple, that national security cannot be defined by only a few babus sitting.
No, the question here is, Madhu, isn't it, that Ashutosh gives examples of some foreign countries. In our own country, some publications may stand up for their reporters, right? Other publications, we have examples in India where some publications, for example, their intrepid reporters went and interviewed some Maoist leaders, right? And in that case, there were genuine attempts at intimidating the entire organization after that. So you find a relatively small regional setup. One of the reporters goes and interviews the Maoist leader. You don't ask why the police can't find them, but you go after the reporter, you go after the editor, you intimidate them, you send them legal notices. You know,
well, that's happened. In my journalistic experiences. When we covered the Babri Masjid, we had to depose in the CBI inquiry. We were the ones who had the tapes, and I don't know why they couldn't have done their job on their own. So a lot of it is sometimes journalists are used to get information which they should be getting on their own. But historically, journalists in India, when they have been asked to reveal their sources, they have gone to jail, even before independence. And I think that if this happens, the journalist community should stand by the journalist of DNA, and if he has to go to jail, I think all of us should stand up and be counted.
Absolutely.
In this situation, I think we cannot be intimidated to suppress reports, and the ministry should really investigate on their own that where was this leaked.
Totally.
Check it out in the ministry, check it out in the defense ministry, check it out in the army, check your own house.
Yes, Mr.
Why
Jaswal, last
outside?
word. Yes, Mr. Jaswal, last word here tonight. Citizens will stand by the media in that case.
I would like to just highlight 2-3 simple issues. I mean, if in case everything is to be shared in the public domain, why have classification of documents at all? Secondly, if in case a journalist has been able to get access to such like document, he should not be so descriptive and lucid in giving out each and every detail. The issue should have been highlighted that the preparedness of the army, at best, he could have said, just this much, the preparedness of the army is subjective, rather than giving lucid details. Sorry, why have the classification of the documents at all? Share it in the public domain.
Nobody would have believed him.
That's not done.
No, that's not.
These details are available in the Jane's Defense Weekly. These details are available in Jane's Defense. There's nothing secret about it. There's nothing secret about it.
Tomorrow...
I think we are unnecessarily trying to create a situation where these are the most confidential. These are available in the defense journals.
No, the Janes
anybody can go and find out.
Figures. They've got figures.
Yeah.
Right? But tomorrow,
everything is available.
Journalists will also get access to our perspective.
I think the discussion...
hide something which is in the public domain already. And
are we going to be sharing our perspective plans to the public domain?
I think the discussion should be
Why not?
more focused
as per your theory.
What happened to the 4,000 crores? Why wasn't it spent?
Exactly.
Why didn't they fulfill their obligations to the army?
Yeah.
What happened? Not about whether the journalist is at fault. I think
at the very end, at the risk,
should be a given that the journalist should not disclose their sources. But I think the investigation on who leaked it and why that 4,000 crores, I think, Arnab, I would suggest there should be an your discussion should be on that.
Well,
why didn't they spend that money?
I want to say this.
There cannot be a freedom of the press if there is no freedom for the access of information and confidentiality of the information.
It's fundamental.
You cannot have a freedom of the press if there is no freedom to access of the information.
I think
that's a fundamental. I think we should understand that.
I think the media should really, fight for confidentiality of its sources in case it wants to move on and provide information that is relevant. Lastly, I want to say one thing. I think all the practicing journalists, everyone knows on the show tonight, that out of the information that goes out, I have rarely found any example where something really hurts national security and an editor says, irrespective of what happens to India, let's put it out. That does not happen. Newsrooms are mature enough to handle that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.